Welcome back, weirdos, to the Certified Weird Podcast.
Welcome back.
You got Meg and Andie today.
This is kind of fun. We haven't had a solo episode in a hot minute.
No, and we haven't been together.
Yeah.
In the same space.
We need to mention that we are live in the same space together this week. So that's another fun little level.
Mm-hmm. It hasn't been that way. I mean, I've been having baby.
You've been a little busy.
We've
Just
been
a few
separate.
things on your plate, like, open heart stuff and with Hoppity and your own surgery and
Tubes are out.
I was in Hawaii.
Well, that's what we're here to talk about. Truly.
No, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of catching up to do.
Yes, I need the catch up from Hawaii because you were in Kauai.
Kauai, yeah.
Yes.
So it was everything that led us up to getting to Kauai was so heavenly blessed. It was just like everything just kind of aligned. Like we had the miles for it, the way that we even got a place to stay. And then I kept having people come into my space that were they either had a connection to Kauai or it was like one night I was playing this game and it's like apples to apples, like Cards Against Humanity for kids.
Yep.
And I kept, like, every single time we pulled new cards for a new round, right?
Yeah.
I kept getting the Hawaii card.
Yeah.
So it was like, even these, like, little things kept showing me that I needed, that this trip was going to be something that was going to be a part of something I need to get from the island.
Yeah.
But it was such a magical week. If you've never been to Kauai, it is one of the smaller islands.
Okay.
So it's not as touristy as some of the other islands. It's much smaller. It is still huge. Like
right.
Like you'll still need to rent a car, all the things, but so green. There's chickens everywhere. That's the hard thing to get used to. Is like there's chickens literally everywhere. Like you're driving down the highway and there's like a golf course and there's chickens on the golf course. There's chickens on the side of the road. There's chickens on the other side of the
they're everywhere.
There's chickens on the beach. There's chickens like you're at the restaurant and they're walking inside the restaurant.
They're just used to them.
They're just used to them. There's just chickens everywhere. And because there are no natural predators, so good news is there's like nothing that will kill you on the island.
Oh, that's nice.
Because if they're not eating chickens, they're not going to eat you.
No. It's easy to eat the chicken. Yeah. Is that only on Kauai that they have that many chickens?
It is. I guess on the other islands, a lot of the settlers brought mongooses.
Oh.
So the other islands have mongooses that will like
eat the chickens.
Yeah. And they have other natural predators that people brought over. Mm-hmm. But yeah, on Kauai, there's no natural predators. Like,
wow.
There's like not even like snakes.
That's so crazy.
Which I love because we're walking through the jungle and I'm terrified of snakes.
Are you?
I am. I do not like snakes.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Especially like big, scary snakes.
Yeah, no.
But there's like none. There's like no snakes.
That's so cool.
There's really not a lot of bugs.
Well, like if a chicken can wander around freely, you know that you're safe. That's so cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, and I told you this earlier. I'm like, of all the places I have been on this planet thus far, it felt like the most like home for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just like, felt so good there. The air is so beautiful. Like, everything about it was so perfect.
And you guys hiked a lot.
We did a lot of hikes because there's waterfalls like everywhere. It's a very diverse landscape. Like there's these huge mountains. Like we went to this Waimi Canyon, which is kind of like, they say it's like Grand Canyon, but if you've been to the Grand Canyon, it's not like Grand Canyon.
Yeah. It's the Grand Canyon of an island.
But it was beautiful. And even that was like mountains and greenery everywhere. And then there's just like literally waterfalls everywhere. So I was always teasing Kelly. I'm like, let's go chasing waterfalls. Yeah. Like, the TLC song.
I love that. You put that on one of your stories too.
I did. I'm like, we are not listening to you, TLC. We are chasing waterfalls. So we rented this like fun little Jeep so we could take the top off and just like drive around the island. And we would just like kind of talk to the locals there because they're so kind. Yeah. And they would tell us like, oh, do this, don't do this. Like one of them was like, do you guys drink? And I'm like, yeah. 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 They're like, they have a free rum tasting that you can go to. Oh. And I'm like, so we did like this little tour of this rum facility and they did like this free tasting. I'm like, I do things that are mixed in. Yeah. I'm like, this is too strong for me. Yeah. It's delightful, but it's still way too strong.
Just pure rum.
It was pure rum.
Nice. And it's like just one of those tasting.
Yeah, like it's just like a little bit to taste, but it was a fun, different thing to do. Yeah. And then we did the traditional Hawaiian luau, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did they have like the pig and
yeah, they have the pig and the
performers?
spit, and then and then they had the performers and fire dancers, and they were teaching you how to do the lua. Yeah. I was like, wait a second, I lost my words for a second.
No, that's so fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. But I think one of my favorite things that we did, there's several things that we did that were really magical, but one of the days we signed up for this tour where we rented kayaks.
Oh, fun.
And you had a kayak for like a couple miles. So it was a pretty good kayaking. Thank goodness Kelly was with me. I'm like, I don't think I could have done that myself. He's like, you just be my paddle princess. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
That I can handle.
That I can handle. I'll hold that if I need to. And then you get to this little place, and then you park your canoe, your kayak, and then you hike for like another 1.5 miles.
Wow.
To get to these sacred falls.
Oh.
And as you're going up to these falls, you pass this beautiful little waterfall. And I actually posted this one on my stories. And you could, like, I kept taking pictures, and there were so many light leaks and like things on there. Like the energy of that space was so sacred.
Yeah.
And this is where the queen of the island would go. It was her birthing pool.
Oh, wow.
So there's like even a place there where you can leave a flower or something as a tribute to the queen.
How cool.
And it's like that you can like have a wish granted.
Yeah.
So like on our way out, we both found like fresh flowers and put it on the altar.
Oh,
and
I love that.
It was beautiful. And that space where that birthing pool was, like,
So
the pictures,
sacred.
the pictures of it are trippy because there's so much going on.
Really? I want
So
to
much
see
going
them.
on. Like there's like even I took video, and even in the video you can see things.
The orbs moving all around.
Orbs moving like crazy.
That's so cool.
It was beautiful. And so just even being in that space was really cool. And then you keep going, and then there's the big, huge, like 100-foot
Whoa.
waterfall.
Yeah.
The water was freezing, so I did
Was
not.
it? Oh.
Yeah, I
You're
did
like,
not
"No,
enjoy
thanks."
the water very much.
Like, I'm not cold plunging today.
I'm not cold plunging. It was the day where like, and where it is, like the wind whips around it, so it makes it colder. Everywhere else was warm, but so that was a really cool thing to do. Was
That's
that?
so
And
awesome.
yeah, and then we did a catamaran tour where we went out and we were able to see dolphins and whales. We went snorkeling.
That's awesome.
So I was pretty proud of myself because those are things like, especially the snorkeling. I'm like,
Snorkeling is scary.
a little scary, especially where I'm like, are there sharks in this water? I don't know.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee.
And
But
they're
I didn't see any sharks. I did see an eel. That was like the scariest, like, ooh, thing.
Oh.
But it was like on the way bottom.
Yeah.
So, you know, those guys like to hang out on the,
They're chilling down
they're
there.
chilling on the bottom. But I like saw him like kind of swivel through the sand. I'm like, oh, you stay down there. I'll stay up here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to check you out.
I'm just going to look at you.
Just going to look at you. You're kind of freaking me out, but it's fine.
Were there lots of just beautiful fish? Just
Fish
like,
I've never even seen before.
Wow.
Like just beautiful, colorful fish. There was like fish that had like these like little like almost looked like a ballet skirt, the way that it was like glittering off their bodies.
that's so cool.
It was really cool.
Fish are pretty amazing.
They are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, and then one day Kelly and I, it was Valentine's Day, and that was a lot of activity for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm normally, I'm not that active just because of everything that's going on with my body. So Wednesday came and I was pretty worn out because we were going so hard. So Wednesday we just like hung out in the room.
Nice.
And we had a very, very nice Valentine's Day. I won't get into the nitty gritty details. Let's just say there was fun that was had in the hotel suite.
there was lots of rest.
Lots
and
of, maybe not as
recovery.
much rest. As there should have been.
On Valentine's, that's not.
But,
in
like,
Hawaii, okay.
Right, like we had like, you know, we're up on a higher level, so we had like the window open so we could look out and see the water.
I love
and we
that.
just enjoyed each other's company and
Yeah.
just had that was a fun day too, just not even doing anything, just hanging out in the hotel room. We got
Sounds like heaven.
we got
Room service,
room
yep.
service. I just kind of enjoyed the much needed break.
Yeah.
'Cause
From
I-
adventuring. Because
Adventure.
that's the one downside. Because when you go somewhere, you want to like adventure. Like you want to
Yes.
see the island, you want to go places, but it's
Yeah, that a lot of people have been asking me the questions like, what's the difference between like going to Hawaii and Mexico? I'm like, well, Mexico, you're really not going to want to get off your resort.
yeah.
Because it's not very safe. I mean, you could do the tours and things, but like you can just chill the whole time
Right.
at Resort Mexico, and that's a really fun trip. Just
Yeah.
chilling. And you go to Hawaii, and it's
So-
such a beautiful island to discover and explore that you don't want to like. You kind
Just
of want to
hang
go
out.
do things.
Yeah.
So it was a lot more active of a vacation than I'm used to, because like usually Mexico we just go
Yeah.
peace out and chill the entire
We're chilling the whole time.
chilling the whole time. So
That's awesome.
there was a lot more going on. So I'm, you know, in typical projector fashion, I'm feeling it this week and like
You're like tired from vacation.
like trying to like recalibrate here.
Yeah. Coming back to, have you
back.
gotten back to your original schedules and,
Today was kind of like my first day
okay.
because yesterday was like President's Day.
Oh yeah. So,
And we got back, even getting home. Like they bumped our flights. We ended up on like a red eye home. And then we had to sit on the jetway for even longer. So it was even later that we left. So yeah, but we flew out of the island Friday, but didn't get home until Saturday morning.
okay.
So it was like, yeah, so
It's a long travel day.
long travel day. And then, yeah, and then Saturday.
And you guys went to Seattle first before you went to Hawaii, right?
On our way
On your way there,
On
yeah.
our way there, we stopped in Seattle, and on the way back, we just flew to Honolulu, and we were in Honolulu
Oh, okay.
airport for like 5 or 6 hours. Gorgeous airport.
And then
we just
came
hung out
home.
there till it was time to fly out,
Nice.
and then from Honolulu it was straight home.
And you guys have been talking about going to Hawaii for a long time.
Yeah, I've always felt the call to go, but you
Yeah.
know, it gets expensive and.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but everything just kind of like worked out for us. So like our getting there
yeah.
ended up being free.
So awesome.
That's when, you know, the universe is conspiring in your favor, right?
Right.
So the only thing that was really the expensive stuff is just like all the things that we did while we were there,
Right. Right.
which adds up real fast because Hawaii's not cheap.
No, it's expensive. Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
You're like,
I
oh,
ordered a hamburger and fries and a drink, and that was $60
jeez.
before, you know, for Kelly and I.
Well, yeah. But still,
But still, like, oh, geez, yeah.
that's how my brother was. He went to Italy and then they came home for like a day and then they went to Hawaii. And in Europe, everything's cheap. Like everything's so cheap. And then they go to Hawaii and he's like, it was so expensive. He's like, we couldn't even hardly eat because it was so expensive. I'm like,
Yeah, like we even went and got, like, because we stayed at, our suite was really cool too.
was it?
Like it was a suite. So we had like our bedroom and then we had like a living room.
Nice.
So it was so fancy.
So fancy.
I'm
Oh,
like, I should have done tour of her room. But I'm like, by the time I like thought about it, I'm like, oh, my stuff is everywhere. Like I'm not gonna do it now.
yeah, no.
Because we didn't land and like get to our room because even getting there, it was like an adventure even getting there.
Was
like,
it?
So the day that we were leaving to fly out, we're like getting ready to go. We're loading up our suitcases, and Kelly's parents, who were supposed to come watch the kids, call us as we're packing and say they can't come.
What?
Yeah. So our babysitters, luckily, like Morgan's like, Mom, it's okay. Like she's our oldest one. She's 19, and she's like, I'll take care of it. I'm like, are you sure? Like,
Oh, geez.
that's a lot with you working full time and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah. But luckily, I mean, if our kids were younger, we would have been like,
yeah, there's no way.
there's no way.
Yeah.
And then we have our niece and nephew live in town, so they kind of came over and checked on the kids quite a bit. But so we had that happen.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, I didn't really say anything about it because I know they
Just had to handle it at that point.
Yeah, they had to handle at that point. And with that, also, it's like, what am I gonna
Yeah.
do? Like, it is what it is. And I felt bad. She was really sick. She had to go to the hospital, so like we were worried about her.
Of
and,
course.
Yeah, so it was the thing. And then like we're driving to the airport, and it's like a freaking snowstorm.
Oh my gosh. You're like, thank goodness we're leaving this right now and going to Hawaii.
Going to Hawaii. Yep.
Oh, that's so
So
fun.
yeah,
though.
and then we landed, and it was like torrential downpour
in Hawaii?
in Hawaii.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like trying to get into our Jeep and like open the lock key because we did Turo
Oh.
for a
okay.
rental. And yeah, we're trying to get into it. It's pouring down rain. I'm trying not to ruin my hair.
Oh no. Because
Because you guys know about me and my hair.
they don't have wild ivy and
They don't have wild ivy, so
To do your hair
They
for
don't
you.
have my hair, so
That's funny.
yeah. My lovely hair ladies, it lasted a good solid, not even 24 hours in Hawaii, but nice try.
darn it. You're like, it's worth the shot.
It was worth a shot, but at least I look good on the flight.
On the flight out there.
On the flight out there.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but it was a good
Oh,
time. But
that's-
just the energy of the island. It was just, and there were so many times. I remember we went to Honolulu Bay, and that's on the north side of the island, and it's another beautiful part of the island. And we drove there together. It was about an hour from where we were staying. But I remember sitting on the island or on the beach, and all of a sudden I felt this like like this islander sitting right next to me.
Wow.
And I'm like, Okay, cool. I can feel you.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. And it was almost like this strong, like, I'm just going to protect you. I'm just going to be here to protect you. And that was the energy I got. So I don't know if there was something that was like a miss that they felt like they needed to protect me from, but it was very much like, I'm here to protect you.
That's so cool, though.
It was really cool.
That's special.
And I was like, I could see him in my mind's eye, like what he looked like. And it was just like this huge, just Hawaiian guy.
Just chilling.
I'm
here.
Protecting me. Wow. I'm like, I don't know what you're protecting me from, but like,
but thank you.
Glad you're here. And Kelly was able to watch the Super Bowl on the beach.
Was he? Nice.
He had his little phone.
Yes. He's like, Super Bowl.
So he could watch Taylor's boyfriend win.
That's funny. Taylor's boyfriend.
Kelly was not happy. He was going for the 49ers.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, so he's always been a fan of the 49ers. So.
Okay. So at least they made it, but
yeah,
they didn't win this time.
They did not win.
Darn it.
At the very last minute.
Yeah, we went to Walmart that day for something. I don't remember what, but we're like walking through and I'm like, babe, what's wrong? Where is everybody? He's like, it's Super Bowl. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was a football fan forever. Like, Pats, my dad's a Patriots fan. Like,
They had a good run.
I was Patriots through and through and through and through. And then Heath got me into rugby.
Oh, yeah.
And now I can't watch football. It's too slow. Like, once you're into rugby, you can't go back because rugby just doesn't stop. Like, the game goes the entire time.
Yeah.
Football, they go, they stop. They go, they stop. They go, they stop. And I'm like,
yeah,
I used to love this. And now I can't. Like,
I don't enjoy it. I'm like, half the time I'm like, okay, it says there's 5 minutes left.
How's it been 45 minutes? What's happening?
Right. I'm like, what? Like, that's why I don't trust it.
I don't trust what's happening.
I don't trust what's happening. You say there's 5 minutes left and now we're like 45 minutes and we're still got a minute left.
Your hopes up because you're like, okay, it's almost over.
It's almost over.
Yeah. No, I was like at the pubs, especially when I was single. Like,
I'm sure. It's a great night to pick people up.
Yeah.
Girls who are into football, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like into football. Like, yeah. My dad's a big, yeah. So, but now it's rugby. But we've been watching the World Cup and it's like so much more fun than football.
I'll have to start watching rugby.
Especially once you learn the game. Oh, there's so many rules to learn though. I'm still learning. So like, so what's the point of this part? And he's like, you'll get it someday. I'm like, no, explain it. But he doesn't like me to talk during rugby. So
yeah, I'm like, okay, so that means it says 1st and 10. What does that mean? He's like, well, it means a first down, and they have to go 10 yards to get another first down. I'm like, okay, I'm learning.
How many downs?
How many downs?
Yeah.
And if they get 4 downs and they don't score, then the other team gets the ball, right? And I'm like, I'm starting slowly getting this game.
Slowly understanding
this game. Awesome. After watching Ted Lasso, I'm like, I think I'd rather watch soccer.
Yeah. I played soccer for a long time, but I'm not a big fan of watching soccer.
I'm not athletic.
I am very athletic. I just haven't done it for a long time.
Yeah. No, I am not. It's fine.
I played flag football when I was 8 months pregnant with Kaya.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's like, just don't like do anything crazy. I for sure tackled someone on accident. 8 months pregnant, it's fine. But I got her flag though.
Yeah, you got it. I won this thing.
My brother was like, what are you doing? I'm like, like when you have athlete's mind, like you just do it. Like and then you remember your body's
like, maybe there might be something you need to watch out
Something's
for.
growing in there.
Something's
it's fine.
growing in my belly. It's fine.
Everyone was fine. Everyone survived.
She came out fine.
But I was proud of you while you were in Hawaii because I set a boundary with Andie when she was in Hawaii. I was like, nothing here matters. And I mean, other than your children, of course, and like things you had to handle. But I was super proud of you because you followed those boundaries for yourself. Like
I did. I tried really hard to not work.
And not even work though, but like as like friends and stuff, but energetically, you were there. Yeah. Like you were not tapping in, connecting, like you were there.
I was trying to stay really present in it because there's there's so many times where I'm like, I know something's happening right now. Mm-hmm. Like I was be receiving information, like downloads.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out what all I did receive, but I know there's so much
from Hawaii specifically. Yeah.
Specifically, yeah. And even like when we went snorkeling and I was in the ocean, that was a pretty intense moment for me too because I was like, okay, I'm connecting with you. I'm ready to receive.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. And I was like trying, it was also a very overcast day and it was cold. So I was like trying not to let the cold and being uncomfortable stop me from feeling into what was happening at that time.
Yeah. Well, just being in that water like that is so powerful.
And it was like open water.
Oh, that makes me feel scared inside. I'm proud of you. The ocean scares me.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's intense. Yeah. But it was beautiful. The water wasn't too cold. It was like just because it was an overcast day. But what was nice about it being an overcast day is like the yacht that we had chartered normally has 50 people on it. Like that's what their normal numbers are. But because it was overcast, like there's only 15 people. On our boat. So it was almost like we had a private charter.
That's awesome.
So it was great.
That would have been a lot of people.
50 would have been so many people.
That's overwhelming.
Yeah, I don't think I would have enjoyed it with 50 people, so I'm glad we went on.
You're like, thank
so
goodness.
note you, if you're ever going to Hawaii, book your charter with Captain Andie. I love that his name was Andy, Captain Andie.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, Captain Andie.
You're like, I like your name.
I like your name.
That's awesome.
I'm like, that's a sign. You need to sign up for that. And it's the brand. It's Captain Andie's. It's like, that's not actually our captain's name. It was like something else. But so
that's cool.
if you book on a day where it's overcast, a lot of people, because they allow you to cancel if you don't want to be there on when the weather's not great. So I'm
sure
you can reschedule for another day or whatever you open. And typically the cruise that we signed up for is the Nepali coast, but because of the weather, there were 50-foot swells.
Oh my gosh.
So they're like, we're not doing the Nepali coast.
We're not going over there.
Not going over there. We'll go over to the calmer side of the island.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we didn't get to see the Nepali coast, which I was really excited about because that's like that side of the island. There's not even a highway to get to.
You just it's all boats.
It's either boat or helicopter. That's the only way you're going to see that side of the island.
Whoa. That's so cool. Oh, darn it. But
next time.
Next time. Yep. Next time, because you'll be back there soon.
I'm hoping.
That's so cool, because I'm sure you got so many downloads while you're there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your energy feels so much more grounded.
I'm still integrating it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. And like the night that we went and saw the whales, like that whole night, I teleported back and I swam with them.
Yeah.
All night I was with the whales in my dreams.
Oh, that's so cool.
Not dreams.
In your travels, you were there.
In my travels, I was hanging out with whales, and I felt like I was in Avatar. Swimming with the whales in my dream. It was cool.
That's so cool.
Because I felt so close to them when they were near, like they didn't even get that close to the boat, but like I just felt so connected to them.
Yeah.
And their energy and their vibe.
And their auras are huge.
Oh, yeah.
So you were consumed for sure by it.
Consumed. And it was, I wish I would have been able to like, a little bit closer, but like...
You're like, come closer.
Come closer. I have good energy. You want to... We're like from the same place. Get over here.
You connect with me.
Connect with me.
I love that. Because they're the ambassadors. They're not from here.
They're not from
here. The whales are not from here.
As soon as you're like front in their energy, you can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like...
Yeah.
We're friends.
Well, and think about how much of the Akashic records they hold because of how massive they are.
They're so massive.
Like, they can hold so much information.
Yeah. They're just being in their presence was beautiful. And then the little dolphins.
They're so cute and playful.
They're so cute and playful.
Were they closer?
Yeah, the dolphins got right next to the boat. I'm like, how were you, like, not getting hit by the boat? Because you were, like, right there.
Right close by, but the whales were further out.
Yeah, the whales wouldn't get as close to the boat, but the dolphins, like, they got right up. They would actually, like, swim underneath the boat.
And, that's so cute. Yeah. And then pop out on the other side.
And then pop out on the other side, and then they would jump for us, and it was pretty cool. They stuck with us for a while.
That's so cute. I'm sure they know the boats.
Oh, yeah.
They just come in. Do you guys feed them anything, or do you just watch?
Yeah, they just watch them.
Wow, that's so cool. So exciting. I've actually never had the desire to go to Hawaii, but I've always wanted to go to New Zealand, which is so funny now. Given everything, it's like, well, that tracks.
Yeah.
But every time someone goes, I'm like, it looks so... That's why I also told Andie, I was like, you need to take us with you.
Yes.
Post on your story. We want to see. And
I know. I try to be better. Normally on vacation, I kind of go like silent mode.
Which is good.
Which is good because I like try to be really present, but I try to like also be posting so people could kind of
fill
the island, fill me, and yeah.
I was like, I don't care about any other people. I want to see. I was like, Andie, post. I want to see where you're at. So I'm glad you did.
So I tried to be better about being channel my inner travel influencer.
Yes. Heath laughs now because he's always like, I'm an Instagram husband now. And he's always getting good angles and videos. And
You got to train those Instagram husbands. There's a certain angle that like, it'll take like 20 pounds off.
For real. And
Yeah.
if they don't get it, you're like, dude, oof, try again.
We'll try that again. Like Kelly took a couple of pictures of me on the beach. I'm like,
Yeah, try again, love.
try again. Or maybe just like, let's not.
Well, they love you so much too. So all
Yeah, they just see is how beautiful I am to them. But like that angle is not optimal.
No. There's multiple times I'm like, good try, babe. And then there's times I'm like, dang, that was a good one.
Yeah, he
Thank you.
did get some really cute pictures of me too.
That's good.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, all right, I'm going to allow you to take a bunch of pictures of me, even though I'm like, oh.
You are a junior varsity level Instagram husband, but you're getting there.
You're getting there. You're getting there.
We're trying to do this damn
trying
thing.
to do this.
We are not. Well, while you were in Hawaii, I got crazy news with
I
my
know.
little boy. But ultimately, I feel I'm in high hopes.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately. Because he has to get 3 surgeries. The first 2 he's already received. Those are supposed to hold him over a handful of years. And it's not holding him over. So that's where it's like, okay, the road to final surgery is a lot closer than we anticipated. So at his year checkup, they were like, his oxygen levels are way lower than they should be. The problem is if they stay lower, it'll affect all his other organs.
Right.
So we have to just go in and do it, which he's a lot smaller than we want, but the surgeon is hopeful. So we're like, okay, we're going to stay in that energy because there's so many other components of our life that are like literally just like landing in place. Like we've been in survival mode for so long through it all. So when this came up, right, as everything's landing in place, we're like, okay, we can't, like everything else is landing into place. So we have to just include that it's landing in place also. Not that it's, this devastation. It was heartbreaking because it was like, and then they started talking heart transplant.
Terrifying.
That was like, I think that's what pushed us over the edge the most was like, and we need to start filling out paperwork for heart transplant just in case. And we're like,
oof.
Wait, because that was never even on the table. That was never even an option. So we're like, okay, well, ultimately we'll do anything for that little boy. We don't have to drop into this crazy fear, which shows how much work I've done, if I'm being honest. And I had therapy. So that happened on the 15th, Wednesday. It was Thursday.
Yeah.
Friday morning I had therapy. So it was like right after in therapy. It was really cool to be able to feel, even through like devastating news, how well I was able to handle it because of the tools that I have implemented. So that was so cool. And that's where I was proud of you because even given all of that, you stayed in your energy. It wasn't like you were like, all of a sudden now like checking in and distracted and like pulled away from your trip, which I'm like, that takes work.
It did, because I just wanted to.
I know. It takes work.
It tried really, and there's that happened, and then there, I had lots of things back home that were like trying to pull me.
Yes. And I was proud of you for staying there because so often when things happen and then all of a sudden we're pulled somewhere else and we're not present in the moment. And that was the other thing that kept reminding me, like, stay present. Yeah. Stay present. And like normally, because Andie's been helping me through this process of like holding me, like when I got my surgery and I called Andie and I was like, Andie, I'm not okay. Like ground me, pull me back in my body, because surgery made me eject pretty hard.
Yeah,
a lot more than I realized. So it was cool because I sat with myself and I was like, I don't need it this time. Like, and it's not because I didn't want it or, but I was like, oh my gosh, all this work and even like devastating news, I'm still grounded. I'm still like in my body. Like I didn't eject. And the whole time we were at the hospital, I was present. I was calm. I was peaceful. Like even after we got the news, I was like, okay, that was possible news. Like that was a possible outcome, instead of like, oh, devastating, worst case scenario. Like I just stayed in, okay. Like I was sitting there at the hospital, like, I'm so proud of myself. Okay. Cause I mean, it was 2 years of not doing well because of the first 2 surgeries. So now it's like to see the amount of growth that I've truly gone through to be able to be there present. Even with the news, it was like, okay, this is, and it made Heath be like, okay, this is working, because he was not in that space, and it's okay he wasn't, because he's kind of reliving.
Yeah, he's got his own traumas that are intermixing into this.
Yeah, so it's really motivated him to start his journey and start because he'll start therapy in April.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's like, and he starts his new job tomorrow.
So exciting.
Ooh, we're so excited, because I've been the sole provider for our family, and the weight off of me, Andie, I can't even put it into words.
You're gonna having that weight off you. You're gonna be able to be so much more creative.
I already am.
Yeah,
And creating things I want to be creating versus creating because I feel like I have to.
Right.
You know,
there's a difference between creating from a space of fun and play and extra.
Yes.
Versus oh crap, I've got to create to make money for my family, to feed the family. It's a totally different energy. And if you're able to have some support with that, it just, you're able to, there's a different weight to it.
Totally different weight. It feels like there's literal weight off of my shoulders.
Right.
And my traps and all of where I hold I've been whoa, I didn't realize how much I was holding. So if you are the provider of your family, I see you. And I even told Heath, I'm you're switching back into that role, and it's not easy. So also do what you need for yourself too, because it's challenging. But the job landed in place during surgery. So some other news we're not announcing just yet, but his family, a bunch of stuff landed in place that morning.
Yeah.
His mom got a job that she was hoping for, and it was all of that aligned. His sister had some stuff aligned. He got the job during surgery. Then we got that news, and I was like, okay, even though we've got the news that our 2-year-old has to get another open heart surgery about 4 years sooner than we anticipated. So the timeline's way sooner, but it was everything else is aligning so beautifully that this being in the middle of it, I'm there's no way this isn't aligning.
There's a reason why this is getting pushed up for a good thing.
Yes. And the truth of the matter is it could be life or death for him. So it's it's coming sooner for life. It's not the other way. And it was so clear to me. And his surgery got pushed back 7.5 hours, and he was peaceful the entire time.
That's amazing.
He's 2. There's no 2-year-olds aren't peaceful.
That does not work.
No, that does not.
They're not going to be cool sitting around in a hospital room for
and
7 hours.
He hadn't eaten since midnight, so he couldn't even have a bottle. So he went all night without even having a bottle. We woke up at 4, so it wasn't. I fed him at midnight. I woke him up and fed him, and then he couldn't eat anything. So, and surgery was supposed to be at 5:30 in the morning, and we didn't go into surgery till 12.
That's a long time.
So that's a long time for a little 2-year-old to not eat. And he was fine. He was I told him, because they had an emergency. Someone delivered the baby at the U, and then the baby came right across and had to go straight in. So they had an emergency, and I was like, hey, buddy, your friend needs to go first. And he was like, okay. And he grabs his bottle, grabs his truck, grabs his blankie, and goes to sleep. And it was 9 o'clock at that point. It's not nap time. It's not it was just nap time. He understood
that he needed to rest more.
Yeah. He's like, okay, I'll take a nap then. Slept for 3 hours.
That's amazing.
We woke him up just in time to get everything ready to head back to surgery. And they gave him a medication. They've never given him a medication before. They gave him an anxiety medication, and he was chilling all the way into the OR. Not one whimper, not one cry. Just I'm good, Mom. He's smiling. He's waving at us. We walked away, and he was completely peaceful. That's never the case. You're sobbing as he's sobbing, and you have to say goodbye at the checkpoint. But with the cath procedure, we could walk him all the way into the lab. It was so different for me. I was like, this is not how it's been every other time. And he's had 3 cath procedures and 2 open heart surgeries. So it's we've done this a million times, but it's the age. So once he turned 2, he was allowed to have that medication. It changed everything.
Oh, yeah.
Changed everything. And that it actually would give him a little bit of amnesia, so he would forget, short term, he would forget. He totally forgot. He woke up from the anesthesia, and it was as nothing had happened.
That's awesome.
I know. I'm
can I get some of these chill pills?
I was literally what? This is how it should be, This is how for kids it should it should be like this. So the whole thing, Heath and I wore super bright colors.
Yeah.
And we saw like 4 people that we knew at Primary Children's. Like, it was wild. Every corner, someone was like, Meg, like out of nowhere. People that, one of our old friends we hadn't seen in a long time, she was there. Her daughter was getting imaging done. We come out of the door and she's like, Meg, and I like look over, but we had worn like bright, you know, like I'm on a kick of bright colors. I wore bright colors. My shirt was like happy vibes. And the whole time at primaries, I had people coming up, and I was holding Coralie. She's tiny, like itty bitty little baby. So people were drawn automatically to her, but also Heath and I are both wearing these bright colors. He had like this Hawaiian shirt on that has the brightest of colors. I had like, because I was like, we're not going in there this time doomsday. Like, we can't do that to ourselves. So this is already hard enough as it is. So we're like bright colors. We had probably 15 people walk up to us. A couple of them told me their whole life story, and we're like, but it was really cool because we've started Irie Families, which is a support group for families that have sick kids that are in and out of the hospitals a lot, and our intention and goal with it has been to be that, like, these bright shiny items that you come here, we'll hold space. And so the entire duration of the surgery, we're like talking to these families. We had this Amish couple come up to us. Out of nowhere, she walks up to me and she's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, are you okay? And she's like, no. Like, I was mirroring for her that I wasn't okay, but I was actually doing great. And so she got a chance to just talk about how they normally wouldn't use this system, but because their child's life is on the line, they're coming in. And she's like, and now we see the benefits of both worlds. And I'm just this beautiful Amish woman, just like sharing her whole life story with me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we did during Heath ran out and did a final interview and came back, but we're just talking to people the whole time. There's this cute girl in a wheelchair. I think she was like 13. She's non-vocal, and she started like making noises and stuff, and her mom was like shocked because she wanted to talk to the baby. Aww. So it was like we had all these really special moments.
I love it.
There, and I was like, this is what it's going to be like every time we come up here. Like, it's not, because every other time we've been up there, I'm not kidding you, the second I drive, like, you go under this bridge to get to primaries, every time I hit the bridge, I disassociate. And I'm like anxious and stressed and like tense, like I'm white knuckling, I'm like holding my breath because it's just always so much to so take much trauma in. Yeah. Well, and every single person in that building is in trauma. Yeah. They're either sick or,
you know, like a loved one that's sick. Yeah.
And you just feel it the whole time you're there. So the whole time I was like, okay, I'm not going to let any of it stop. I'm just going to be just moving energy and be there. But it takes you being present for that. Like, you can't be out of your body. So I was so present the whole entire time. And the next morning on therapy, she thought for sure. She's like, I thought for sure you were going to get on this call and we'd work the entire call to just get you into your body. And I was like, nope, I'm in my body. Like, no, that's not why we're here. We're here to I'm like, I want to talk about what I'm creating and what we're like, what's coming and like the positive and like not. And I was like, and I want to make sure I'm not bypassing. Right. Like, help me identify that I'm not bypassing, because it's really easy to be like,
it is easy.
Everything's going to be okay. It's totally going to be fine. I'm like,
and that has been a default for you for a very long time.
Very long time. And
just be like, oh,
it's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. But so Heath had a son pass away 20 years ago. Yeah. No, this is the same exact surgery. Yeah. So the first 2 surgeries were different because his heart defect is different. But this surgery is the exact same surgery. And it was almost like the exact same thing for him. The same cath lab. They only have 2. The same office that you go into and they show you on the computer and they pull up all the things. So it was like he was triggered so intensely
because he's having to relive the most terrible time in his life,
literal
all over
day
again.
of his life. Yeah, and it was the same thing. He's because I wanted to go one way because I'm like, let's go to the cafeteria and get a snack, and he was like, I can't. Like, we went in the elevator up around a completely different way because it was all so exact. Like, go into the cath lab, get the news. We can't see him for 4 hours because he has to lay flat for 4 hours. Now go back out. And the first thing that they were going to go do is go get food. And they went to get food. they got the call, went back, and they had lost their baby. So he was like, I can't go. So we went a completely different route. And then he just sat on the chair, hands in his face, and just sobbed. Like, the reality of it was so intense. And I was like, no, like, I know no matter what happens. Like, I just was in such a presence. Like, I was so present the whole entire time that I was like, and the baby he had lost was there all day. Like, even the nurse. So we're sitting there, and Toffee's playing with trucks, playing with stuff, and like the bed like made a noise next to him, and it like there was an actual like divot where somebody was sitting, and the nurse even was like, oh, whoa, and I was like, oh, and Heath was distracted because he was so happy because he had our baby.
Yeah.
So he held her the entire time. And even when she needed to eat, he was like, okay, hurry, and wanted her back because it was kind of like that comfort for him. So he was kind of distracted, and I'm sitting there, and then he looks up because he could feel it once the nurse left. And I was like, yeah, he was there physically with his baby brother, like the whole entire time. And then like a couple days later at the house, our daughter's like looking at a screen, totally not focused at all. We felt him come in, and she like looks up and she's like, hi brother, and goes back to her screen. So he's been around like consistently, and every time I feel him, he's like, it's not the same story. Like, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. And so Heath and I had a really powerful moment where I was able to do energy work on him, and he finally was like, I release his timeline. Like, I can't hold this anymore. Like, it's in the past. It's done. This is a new, like, everything's been different. Every outcome's been different. He's, like, so, but it's just so crazy that he's truly reliving the exact same. It's like almost trippy how similar everything is.
That's gotta be terrifying.
It's so terrifying
it's
for
like
him.
reliving your worst nightmare all over again.
It is. And
trying and hoping and to hold faith that it ends different this time.
Well, and everybody's been like, it's happening for a reason. And he's like,
that's hard to hear.
That's what they said the first time. Like, and him and his ex-wife had a moment. She came over because she's just been dying to just be with Toffee and hold him. And they had a moment where they're like, yeah, that's what everybody said. And I was like, oh, like, I'm going to not bypass this. I'm going to make sure. But it's so hard when I know to my core that everything's happening for us, and he has to get the surgery. Like, it's not like it's like, at first I understood it as an extra surgery. Yeah. Which I was like, no. The first surgery was $985,000. So in my mind, I'm like, we got to do that twice, like 2 more times. Like, so it was just like, wait a second. But once I understood that they're just going to have to push that final surgery forward, I was like, okay, we have to cross this bridge no matter what. Right. And in my mind, I was like, okay, we'll be on the road to recovery forever sooner until they started talking heart transplant. And then that's when I was like, wait a second. Yeah. So if this surgery is not successful, the only other option is heart transplant. Like, that's the only other option, which is a whole thing. Yeah. Because I'm like, it's one thing to fix my baby's heart. It's another thing for him to have somebody else's heart. Yeah. Like, that's
scary.
Even energetics, like, I'm like, oh man, like it would be a child, like it would be.
They'd have to, have some.
Yeah.
And the fact that for your son to have a heart, another child has to go. Like, that's a whole nother.
Yes. Yeah. So when they started doing that, and then they're like, we need to get that paperwork filled out as soon as possible, because sometimes it can take years to be matched with a heart. I was like, whoa, wait a second. That's when I started to be like, okay, whoa, hold on. Like, and that was the cardiologist who was talking that. The surgeon is like super hopeful. The surgeon's like, no, like, there's so many things we can do. Like, we'll be okay. And the surgeon is the one, he was supposed to be 7.5 pounds when they did his first surgery. He was 4 pounds. Yeah. Wow. So the surgeon's like, well, we did it when he was 4 pounds. And it's got him to this point. And the other thing that they wanted to clarify is that the surgery isn't failing. It's actually his body that's healing itself. Yeah. So he's growing veins from the lungs that are growing to try to connect to the heart, to get more oxygenated blood to his heart. So, but they're just currently leaking blood from the lungs, and that's what's happening. So it's like, it's so wild that the body will heal itself.
It's crazy. Our bodies are freaking miracles.
Isn't that so crazy? I mean, his body did it the first time too. It created this cartilage thing that lifted his heart so that it had to work less. Like, the body is and this is something too, the message I took away. I was like, the body is incredible.
The body is insane.
And we take it for granted. Like,
So
we judge it, we hate it, we think the zit on the forehead is dumb. Like, and I'm watching my little sweet 2-year-old's body, like, healing itself. And the surgeon's like, just so you know, the surgery is not failing. The surgery actually is doing really well. It's just his body is trying to heal itself. So I'm like, that is miraculous. Like, that is so incredibly cool to, like, witness and see. And she's showing us on, like, all the screens and, like, showing us the veins and, like, where they're going to have to coil them and clip them. And then ultimately, I'm like, that is so cool. That the body's like, okay, we're not getting enough oxygen. What can we do to fix this?
Let's make our own pathways.
Isn't that
Try
cool?
some extra veins.
Yeah.
Try to get them to go over there to that heart.
Yeah. And they're growing from both sides. Like, it's so wild. Like, so wild to me. But it's like the moms that have to be in that space and hear that type of stuff that are not present and, like, able to stay in their body and, like, feel it. Because I cried that day for, like, 9 hours, just, like, sobbing. And every cute little thing he does, we both just, like, like, immediately. Because it's like, and now I'm like, okay, we have to be present. That's the other thing with him starting a job. I'm like, I get to be a mom. Like, I'm still going to do podcasts. I'm still going to do digital products. I'm still going to do the stuff I love. But I'm not, like, bye family for 9 hours. See, I'll be home. You know, like, I actually get to be home with them, which I'm like, that immediately I was like, this is why this is all aligning, because I get to be home with him. And when I'm with him, he is peaceful. Like, him and I have such a bond and connection that I'm like, we got this, buddy. Like, you and I got this. And I keep telling Heath, I'm like, you keep us steady, but don't be strong. Because last time he thought he had to be strong. That's what gave him the heart attack.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be strong. And I've been so proud of Heath because he doesn't. He lets himself break down.
Good.
He is telling, and if you know Heath, he is telling us how he feels.
Good.
He is talking about what's making him anxious or nervous. He's asking me not to say certain phrases or things that are triggering. And the other day he's like, I said something to somebody else and he was like, that didn't trigger me. Like, I'm actually moving through this. Like, it's not stuck in my body. And I was so excited for him.
That's
I'm like,
exciting.
it's just showing that all this stuff that we preach and we talk about and we try to get people to do it's real.
It's real. All of it's real. Like,
Even in, like, worst case scenario, it helps.
it does.
It doesn't take it away.
No.
It doesn't, we can't
'Cause
bypass
for
it.
whatever reason, this brave little dragon soldier warrior spirit signed up for this.
He did.
He did. And he's killing it. And he's going to be the story he has to share.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? Like,
He's going to change lives.
oh, he already has.
He has, yeah.
The amount of people, and that's been kind of cool. We had a lot of people in our lives at the time when I had him.
Right.
That are no longer in our lives.
Yeah.
And that was because I couldn't keep friendships. I couldn't keep
were-
relationships. I could not, like,
You had one focus.
literally one focus. Like, all of my children, I'm having to, like, they're doing incredible. I'm so proud of all of my kids because they all went through all of this trauma. Like, Heath and I, we're the parents, so we're affected, but, like, his older boys, my older 2 kids, like, Kaya is the one showing it the most, but she's 4. So it's like, you know, she's going to act it out the most by far. But all of our kids went through it too. So it's like seeing the whole family just, it was so sweet. The night before surgery, my Lila was helping Kaya, and, like, Kaya was getting a little anxious and Lila was helping. It was just so cool to see the whole family be like, we all got this, like, this time. Like, it's not like it was before, and we've all worked as a family so hard. I have my kids doing the EMDR integration
Oh,
meditations
love it.
so that they can start to, and every single time they'll talk to me about what they're feeling. And sometimes has to do with what's going on. Other times it's other things, but they'll like release emotion. And it's like everything that we're teaching or talking about, we're implementing in our family. And to have this type of situation come up, I'm like, okay, it really does work. It's not like we're just talking about it or like hopeful, or it's truly working.
It truly works because you can go and have these experiences and it's so different when you have the gifts and the tools behind you to handle this. Cause I mean, even just a few years ago, like,
no, even just less than a year ago for me, it was, well, and I had all the tools, but I truly was not implementing them because I thought that I didn't have any energy or time left. Like, and now it's like everyone's been seeing on my social media. So I'm like, if I'm consistent and I keep commitments to myself, that's what matters. Right. Like, and I have been, that's the best part. Like through all this, I'm like, okay, if I can be consistent to myself in nutrition, consistent to myself in things that mean a lot to me, then I can show up full. Like I've only missed 1 week of therapy, and we ended up moving it because anyways, doesn't matter. Only one time I've missed therapy.
That's awesome.
We'll hit a year in May. Like the whole entire time. Like just being consistent, even with the small things, is what has kept us out of, me personally, out of burnout. Like out of slipping back into survival, slipping back into that same like, oh no, woe is me. It's like, we're not there. Like that's not where we're at.
It's those small consistency things that you do on a day-to-day basis that make the difference. Yeah. They may seem small. They may seem like they're not that significant, but they are. They are. They make I can tell you the times in my life where I'm like, oh, I don't need to meditate. I don't need to like have time by myself. Like I just am going to chill. So disconnected. Yeah. I feel completely out of my body. Like I'm just not present. Yeah. And then times where I make those things a priority. Yeah. Things just fall in. Things just align. People come into my experience. Things just flow. Yeah. So it's like, it pays to be the consistent. Yes. Again, going back to my words of the year, structure and routine.
Yes. And that's the one thing so I've been building a ton of routine, like with my kids, with our, we were literally in survival mode for so long that it was like, of us are. Well, yeah. And
even when most of us are in survival mode and we don't have what you have going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, but the cool part this time was to feel and see, like, even just in my ability to sleep, even in my ability to, like, I keep saying, like, I truly am living if you just stay consistent. Yeah. No matter what life throws at you, no matter what comes up, in whatever you commit to yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the commitment part of it, because sure, I can do my skincare, which is great because I complain about my skin. What are you doing about it? Right? Like, what are you doing about your skin then?
Oh, wait. Hi, me.
It's me.
It's a problem. It's me.
But the truth of the matter is that we tell ourselves, I don't have time. Yeah. Or I don't have money. Or I don't have, like...
our minds are awesome at making excuses.
Mm-hmm. And, like, your baby having heart surgery, that's a pretty good excuse. It's a pretty valid excuse.
You can use that for a crutch for a pretty long time. There's people who probably use that till their kids are, like, in college.
Well, there's moms that still don't do things for themselves when their child is 30 because their child has a heart defect. Like, truly. Yeah. Because you do get frozen. And in therapy, I've been learning, like, you do get frozen in those moments.
Right. You hear that a lot. Like, if, as a child, if a parent dies or something traumatic like that happens, you get frozen in that timeline.
Yeah. And then
your maturity doesn't go beyond that point. So you see a lot of people who are, like, in their 30s, 40s, and if they had a parent die at, like, 11 or 12, they're stuck there. Completely. They're functioning at that level and trying to be an adult. But yeah. So you do really have to go back and work with that inner child and heal it.
For sure. And for me, like with my buddy, because it's his journey and it's not mine, yes, I am learning an insane amount of things, like holding space for his journey and being his safe space and being his lighthouse. And that was the other thing is like, I had a coaching session where I told a friend of mine, like, be the lighthouse for your child, because they're in a co-parenting type situation where every time, similar to mine, Every time they go, you feel like you're hopeless in what's happening over there, and you don't have a lot to say. And like I said to her, I'm like, be a lighthouse for him, for your son. And I remember so vividly, it was like 2 nights before we took him in, I was like, I am a lighthouse to him. Like and he's out in his storm, he's out in the dark, this journey that's his. But if I'm like swimming after him, like trying to save him, or like, that doesn't help. That doesn't change anything. I have to be firm and grounded and a lighthouse for him, because then he's going to know constantly, like, there's the light, like I'm still safe. I can get back there if I need to, but I got to go on this journey. And it's, for lack of better words, it's contracted. Like, he knows what he came here for.
Right.
There's no question. Like, no question.
There's no question. Each of our kids have signed up for their own journeys.
For sure.
And that's why we have to be a little bit more detached
Mm-hmm.
to allow our kids to have these experiences that are terrifying, that are so hard, but like, obviously be steady for them, be stable, be safe for them as they're going through it, so that you're always that anchor that they can come back to.
Yeah. And in therapy,
don't attach to their story.
You can't. And the second that you do is when, and this is something that Heath and I finally got to kind of see, is when you do attach to their timeline, you make changes based off of your emotions. Like, he was immediately, we're not doing, like, no. I'm like, you can't say that. If his body tells us that's what he needs, it's his journey. It's his body. It's his heart. It's not ours. Like, our emotions are not what we can trust in this moment. We have to listen to his body and his journey. And it was a really cool moment for both of us to like step back and be like, this is his journey. Yeah. We are the guardrails. We're the safety net. We're the lighthouse. And then we had a moment like, are we still his lighthouse? And I got on therapy that morning, and that's one of the first things. I was like, first things first, I'm in my body. Like, I'm in my body. I have not, for that. Seriously, I have not ejected. I am not disassociated. I'm not spiritually bypassing. I'm not going into like, I'm just going to manifest the best outcome. Like, I was present with all of it. And I said to her, I'm his lighthouse. And I had this like spiritual moment that was, in his contracts, he knew he was going through this, and he knows I know he is going to change a lot of people's lives. Yeah. Just by who he is, I know he's going to change a lot of people's lives, and I'll assist him in that, and in sharing and talking, and but it's his journey. He's the one that's going to live with this heart for the rest of his life. Yeah. It's so wild and cool, because for me, it's an honor to like bear witness to what he is doing. So the whole time I sat back just like, what? That's my child. We have 7 hours and he's been in complete and utter peace. Like, he knows. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he signed up for. His soul knows. And even the nurse was like, wow, he understands what's going on. Yeah. He knows what's happening. I'm like, yeah, he totally does. Yeah. And I do communicate with him a lot. And I had been prepping him and talking to him about where we were going. And we're driving to primaries. And I looked back at him and I said, buddy, do you know where we're going? And he nods his little head and puts his lip out like, yes, I do. And I'm like, you ready? And he's like, yes. And every time we go into the hospital, he gives me high fives, and he has a certain energy. And every time we're leaving the hospital, it's the same thing. He'll give me high fives like, we did it, Mom. Like, every single time. That's so cute. So this time when we were leaving, I was like, he gave me the high fives, but it was different. Like, he knew we're coming back soon. Like, he knew it wasn't just a checkup and everything went well. Like, he knew. Yeah. So it's just crazy, because it's an honor, and he's only 2. So I'm like, as he gets older and, we're crossing these bridges again, he totally understands. Yeah. And it's so cool to just be like, okay, we're doing this. And it's not fun. It's not easy. We have some really dark days, especially right after. Yeah. The next morning, we both woke up like, wait, was that all a dream? Like, please be a dream. And then we're like, no. But his oxygen, so they did do the cath procedure. They did adjust things in his heart that they were hoping would in real time change it. So his oxygen levels were at like 64 inside of his heart. They should be at 85 optimally, 75 at the lowest. So they're sitting 64, which is significantly lower. Yeah. And so they did it, and they're like, it could potentially bring up his oxygen levels a little bit and buy us more time, or it could just stay the same. And his oxygen consistently has been at that 75 mark.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Because every time I put his little monitor on, I'm like, please. And without oxygen, he's in the 30s. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like his body is telling us this is what it needs. Because the other part for me, I have a really hard time with, and I'm working on it, is trusting the medical field. Because
that's hard.
Because, you know, they got $985,000.
Yeah.
After all the insurance deductions. Not before, after everything. $985,000. It's $9,000 just to be laying in a bed at Primary Children's per day, not including anything that they do. $9,000 to be in the ICU.
Okay, I could get on a whole soapbox about the whole medical field and how that's just a racket.
It should be illegal.
It should be illegal with their charging.
For a child.
Yeah. And the reason we have to pay insurance and how much that is, it's just...
And in the middle of it, so he's got the job. Right. While he's in surgery, he comes like skipping into the hospital. And he's like, got the job, babe. Like, full insurance, you know, lots of benefits. All like, it's so exciting. And immediately I was like, wait. So if we have to get the surgery and we lose our current insurance, we're going to be responsible for a fat amount. Like, not just like, I mean, even if it was like a $10,000 deduct. No, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we were in debt to Primary Children's for over a year. Yes. For over a year. We were like, they were like ready to garnish our wages. Credit, that's not a thing because I was medically bankrupt for an entire year.
Yeah. I mean, who can afford that?
No, well, if you can afford it, you sure don't want to give it to, you know, like, but at the end of the day, I'd pay it for him over and over and over again.
I mean, that's the price you pay. But luckily, you know, you were able to find some really good assistance with that. And so clear that.
Yep, and write a bunch of grants. And I'll do it again if we run into any problems. And now I know that the process of writing grants, which is really nice. Yeah. Because that was daunting and scary. But this time, that's the other thing. Like, when you... I'm a squeaky wheel parent, too. Like, I don't just sit back and... I'm an advocate. Here's the difference, too. Before, I was an advocate that was ready to fight for him. Yeah. And it was good. This time, I was not there to fight. Like, I'm like, we're all on the same team. I'm not fighting anybody. And it went so much smoother. And I did set a few boundaries. Like, if they came in with anxiety because his numbers were low or whatever, I'm like, this is why we're here. Please take your anxiety back out. Come back in calm. Because every time you come in anxious, you make him anxious. So it was cool to be able to advocate and set boundaries, but not fight. Because the first several times was like tooth and nail fights. Like, and I just don't trust them. And if my intuition said one thing and they were saying another thing, I had to fight. And this time I'm like, no. Like, and they wanted to keep him and monitor him longer. And I'm like, is it medically necessary? Because we have all the equipment at home. Yeah. But that is also... If you have a child on oxygen, oh my gosh, I see you. It is so hard.
I can't imagine him trying to make an active 2-year-old with an oxygen tank.
It's the funniest, saddest thing ever. Because the second he meets the end of his leash, it's like pulling on his little face and he screams. And he's 2 and he's starting to get...
so active.
He's starting to get so active. So it's heart-wrenching. We have like... 100 feet of tubing that he has a lot of...
That's a lot of tubing. Yeah.
He does. He has a lot of wiggle room. But the other thing is they get hand, foot, mouth often because their oxygen tube is being dragged around the house. So I'm like constantly cleaning, I'm constantly sanitizing his tubing because I'm like, because they get
it right through their mouth. Yeah, through their mouth.
It's right by their mouth and nose. And so they get all sorts of stuff all the time. So the other day a couple weeks ago, he got hand, foot, mouth. And I'm like, how in the heck did he get hand, foot, mouth? So of course I'm researching. It's like one of the number one things that kids with oxygen, like they get it frequently because specifically if they crawl too, because they drag their oxygen.
And you know, kids that age like want to put everything in their mouth.
Well, yeah. I'm like,
it just comes with the territory.
And then when he's sick, his oxygen is low. So it's so much more than people realize.
Yeah.
Like, and it's cute because he gets all the attention. People are always like, oh my goodness, he's so cute, you know, with his oxygen. But it's like, it's so much work. And that's what we were hoping. We were hoping to get rid of the oxygen. We're like, please. And now he's on it permanently. Like, he can't even have breaks. Like, it's too dangerous. He can't even have breaks. So now we cart around tanks. Like, we would run to the grocery store and take him off of it and go grocery. And like,
we can't do that.
No, he's at 30 if he's not on oxygen.
Yeah, that's not okay.
And that's when livers fail and kidneys fail. And like, we can't cross that bridge. But it's been so cool to just see, like, in life when you go through a trauma or a trial and you handle it one way, and then you get yourself in a good space and it comes back up, and to truly see your growth is like, I wouldn't ever wish it on anybody to have to cross the same bridges again, you know, like the worst case scenarios and the medical field is it's so sad. They have to cover themselves. They have to cover their tracks. They have to say worst possible case is this, but it's like, man,
I don't want to hear what you're saying.
Nobody wants to hear that, you know, like, it's like, and then the surgeon's like, I know they have to say that, but I'm the one doing the surgery and I'm very hopeful. So then you're getting like conflicting things too. So you're like, I don't even know how to feel. Yeah. But when you're in your body and present and doing the things and you're feeling it, it's like,
right. You can actually connect with your higher self who actually knows the outcome of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm anchored and I feel hopeful, and he is so, I can't even put it into words. I have a very deep connection with all of my kids,
right.
But his soul knows everything is going to be okay. Like, it's so wild. Every time it comes up, he's just like, everything's okay, Mom. Like, we're good, Mom. Like, so yeah, but it's going to be a long road. And because he has the job, I'm for sure asking for help, because I will have 5 children by myself. That is drastically outnumbered.
You're drastically outnumbered at this point.
Even today I was pushing a stroller, carrying him. I had oxygen on my shoulder, and Kaya's getting out of the van, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is only 3 of them. But I can't wait to be a mom, and not have to work all the time. Yeah. So we just juggle it, and we just ask for help when we need, and it's going to be what it is. Yeah. It's not going to be great, but it's going to be what it is. Yeah. Then he'll be done. The other thing, we've been trying to go home to New Zealand, just for a holiday, just to go back, and he can't fly. So it's like...
but after he gets the surgery and it's successful and he's cleared recover, then he can fly.
Then he can go back home.
Yeah. So,
everything's
happening.
Yeah. I'm I didn't want to wait 4 years to go back home anyways.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And they need to know where they're from. So
they do.
So when they said that, I was like, oh yay, so we'll go to New Zealand 4 years sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
Because we were going to try to go this year. Like, we're really like, okay, we're going to go this year, and it might be next year, but that's okay. Right. It's not 4 years from now.
It's not 4 years.
It's in the nearer future.
Nearer future.
Yes.
Yeah. At least it's a possibility now that you can go sooner.
Yeah. And there's a lot there with New Zealand, so that I can't talk about yet, but I'm so excited about, because Heath has been, that's the one thing through this process, is he is so homesick, like home for New Zealand sick, it's just like we talked with Sarah about the Southern Hemisphere bodies, the Northern Hemisphere bodies. Yeah. You guys, I'm living it. All of my partner and my children that are all half Maori, they are in summertime. Like, they have so much energy. They want to go all the way till like 11 o'clock at night. Oh, and I've seriously been like, what is the deal, you guys? Like, we are in winter. It's been dark for like 6 hours. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. And then that episode, I was like, oh my gosh, this is why. And he'll call his sister every day right now, because they're doing a lot together. And I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense, because I'll feel her energy. Okay. And I'm like looking around at all my little half native babies, and I'm like, they're all on summertime right now. Okay. They are not on winter. Like, it is the dead of summer there right now. Yeah. Like, and they are in the dead of summer. And that's the other benefit, I think, for Toffity, is he has so much energy right now.
Yeah.
And me and my 2 kids are like, you guys, it's winter. Like, cozy blankets. Like, we're chilling.
We're
like,
in Pisces season.
Yeah,
Let's chill.
we're in Pisces. What do you guys, like, this is not fire. What is happening? No, they are in summer. It is wild to, like, and it's not just, like, what they're doing. It's their energy. They're just, like,
they have a lot of it.
Fire. And so Heath's starting his job, too. I'm like, please go. And, like, he's so excited. Like, he's been a stay-at-home dad for 3 whole years.
So good for him.
Yeah. He was talking to a friend the other day. A friend came to see him, and he's really grounding for Heath. He's a really big guy, like he. Yeah. And when they sit next to each other, everyone just like everyone just grounds. And he's like talking to him. He's like just giddy, like a little boy that's telling his friend about his job, like. Yeah. And his friend's like, yeah, the gig you've had. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd last like 4 days. He's like, I remember one time my wife went on a trip for 4 days and like, nah. And he's like, yeah, dude, I've been doing it for 3 years. And his friend's like, I'm really excited with you. Yeah. And they're like giddy. Yeah. And I'm over here like, me too. I'm so excited. So it's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
It's all going to align. I feel so hopeful. And he'll get his little surgery. And
all of you listening, please send the prayers.
Yes.
All the prayers and all the good energy, healing energy, just all the support. Because our little Toppity needs it right now.
He does. He needs his tribe.
He needs his tribe, and you're part of that tribe. So.
Yes. And it was, remember our episode where we talk about prayers and how I didn't realize I was blocking them?
Yeah.
I wish I could put into words the night after I announced like the actual reality of what was happening. The amount of physical prayers I could feel. I was like I'd be levitating. Like I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
I was like levitating from the prayers, and I was like, I receive all of them. Give me all of the prayers. And I was funneling them through my body and giving them to Tafiti. And it was, because I was like, of course people are praying for me too. And it's not, but it's him. I'm like, pray for him. Right. And build him up. And I'm like sitting there, it's happening. I'm like, I feel like I'm levitating. I can feel all these prayers coming in. I'm like sobbing still. And I like look over at Tafiti, and he like sits up and he like looks at me like, thanks, Mom. Like, cause I could feel them like filtering through. It was so weird, but it was so cool. Yeah. We received the prayers.
I sent angels. I was like, I can't leave the island, but I can send my angels and my team to come watch over.
Oh, they were there.
I was sending angels to all the people who were going. So I don't know what is happening right now.
So much
is happening. Like people very close to me are going through some very hard things, like you and Toppity, and then like I've got some other friends that are having some health issues for their children, and then one of my sister and her husband. There's just so much going on right now.
So much.
Yeah. So if you're going through it, we see you.
Yeah.
We're all having to level up, and that includes some interesting things being thrown at us right now.
Yes. And the children, they're being affected.
Yeah.
The amount of diagnosis that I've heard in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Of all sorts of stuff.
Like crazy stuff you never even heard of.
Yeah. It's wild.
So
it's those timelines shifting, I'm telling you.
The timelines be a shifting.
Which one are you going to choose?
Yep.
Well, we're not staying on this one, I'll tell you that much.
Nope.
No freaking way. I'm not. I'm stepping foot. Like we're
choosing not that.
No. The survival one can fuck right off.
Right, yeah. We're going to thrive.
We're thriving.
Yes. We're choosing thriving.
Yes, so.
All right.
Andie brought back all the Hawaii.
I did. And I'm very tan right now, and I'm loving it.
You are very tan right now, and I'm so jealous.
I always like to tease people. I'm like, I can go from like Snow White to Pocahontas. Either way. I go from being like uber white to being like super dark.
That's so lucky. I just stay uber white, and then I get red, and then I peel.
It's funny. Like I remember I grew up in Arizona, and my parents would take us to Mexico, like just Nogales and like the little border towns, because they thought that was fun. So, and they would get their medicines at the Nogales drugstores. And I remember they would have to bring my birth certificate to prove that they weren't like trying to smuggle me back.
Because you'd get so dark.
Because I'd get so dark in the summer.
That's so lucky. Not me.
I I don't get as dark as I did as a kid, but like this
Yeah.
week I'm
You're
pretty
pretty
dang
dark.
I'm pretty dark after a week in Hawaii.
That's so lucky. Yeah, I wear Cheeto dust, Heath calls it.
Nice.
Yeah, I have to, my little mitt, and I Cheeto dust
But you
up.
get to have the tall yoga body, so there's that.
Oh,
we
yeah.
all have our wins.
We give and take.
We give and take.
I think I'd be short and stocky and tan over tall and lanky and white though. Let's be honest. But
Pick your poison.
when I go to New Zealand, I'll be a lighter shade of brown.
A darker shade of white.
A darker shade of white. I'll be slightly darker.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure like over there, the white skin will be like.
We'll see.
We'll see. The black. Like I remember, my sister is very pale and blonde,
Mm.
and when we go to Mexico, they like could not get enough of this little blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you're like one of us. We don't care about you, but oh, look at this blonde-haired girl.
Look how blonde she
Look
is.
how beautiful she is."
Yeah. Well, and Coralie has blue eyes. She'll be the only one with blue eyes in the
Yeah.
whole family,
It's
which
gonna
is
be fun.
that'll be so fun. Well,
Yeah.
that's the update, friends.
Lots of updates. We were just like, "Oh, let's hop on and do like a 30-minute like."
Where are we at? Oh
we're at
my gosh.
An hour and 15 minutes of
Well.
us shitty chatting.
Well, enjoy it.
Enjoy.
That's where we're at, friends.
We love you. Thank you so much for your continued support.
Yes. Please keep sharing.
Keep sharing.
Yes.
We love you.
And stay weird.
Always.
Damn, an hour and 15.